of a project,
Finally, okay.
but we
Yes.
made it. So Radhe Radhe. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Pranaji for a wonderful session. We had a bit of a technical glitch, so we lost 5 minutes. We'll try to make up for it. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening everyone. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So we are on a very fascinating topic, talking about Paratattva. And we will talk. Yesterday, we spoke about the different forms of God and what should be an ideal perspective to look at different forms of God, as opposed to having a discriminating intellect that this form is different from this form and this form is better than another form. So today we will continue on that, and we will talk about why Krishna avatar amongst all the form is special. All forms are equal, all forms are replete with all the powers of God. However, having said that, still Krishna form is a bit special in the sense that why? Okay, I'm not going to spill the beans. We'll talk about it in the session. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and then we will get underway with our session. So let me share my screen. We'll do our opening prayers and then get started. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe. So let's get started with our Soul Soup segment. So as part of this mind management series, we have spoken about that cycle of anger, greed, desire, attachment. Today we are going to talk about the power of habits. So we have sowing and reaping. So what happens? This is how this process unfolds. It all starts with a thought. So as the saying goes, you sow a thought, you end up reaping an action. Any action that you do, it all starts with a thought in our mind. Furthermore, if you sow an action, you will reap a habit. That's what we can talk. If you sow a habit, you will end up reaping a character. And if you sow a character, you end up reaping your destiny. Okay, this is how the connection goes. So, Mr. Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he's given this. In fact, I think I spoke about it earlier as well. In one of his interviews, when he came to India, said he got inspired by Bhagavad Gita for a lot of his teachings, especially the circle of inner control and that outer circle that he spoke about, where we don't have any control over. So that book is inspired by teachings of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, if you read that book and if you're reading Bhagavad Gita, you'll understand that he has picked up so many elements from Bhagavad Gita, but barely scratched the surface. And that itself has become such a great read. It's used as one of the books in corporate circles as well for leadership, and a lot of inspiration you can derive from that. So, as you can see, this quote is from Stephen Covey. And when it comes to habits, first we mold our habits, and later our habits mold us. This is how the process goes. Now, it's to simply put, if it's a, it is a person's customary way of thinking or behaving. That is what a habit is. And habitual behavior is something which is natural or automatic for all of us. And it does not require any kind of self-analysis. Okay, we just do it. For better or worse, these habits, they become a part of who we are and constitute our intrinsic aspect of our personality. This is how the habits go. Now, people who are habituated to drinking bed tea, they can't get off bed without their morning cup. That's a habit. People who are accustomed to the game of tennis, like I became accustomed to the game of pickleball, right, until my knee gave away. They have to sweat it out in the court in the evening, and they feel very uneasy on rainy days when they cannot play. I see, so much of action happening in our WhatsApp group when it is raining. How do we play? Where can we find indoor court today? Because we have gotten accustomed to that habit. And those people who have a habit of drinking wine with their meal, they cannot swallow meals, especially French people, they have that habit. And those who are habituated to uplifting their mind through sadhana, they feel uneasy even if they miss out on a single day. So it's all about inculcating their habits, and those habits, they actually drive us. And like I said, first we mold our habits and later our habits mold us. So it's the conditioning we give to our mind, which could result in forming habits which can be really beneficial for our well-being, material and spiritual well-being. So we'll continue to explore this topic, but for now, I'll leave you with this thought. This is how the process works. It all starts with a thought and it leads to action. Action leads to habit. Habit leads to character, and character leads to the destiny, our destiny, because then we end up making choices in our life which have repercussions or ramifications which stretch far beyond our current life. That is the law of karma as well, right? So this is how it works. We'll continue to explore this topic more, the conditioning, how we can condition ourselves so that we are uplifting ourselves through the power of habits, as opposed to making habits that are degrading us. The best way to give up a bad habit, what is the best way to give up a bad habit? Not build one to begin with. Okay. And what is the quickest way of um, leaving a good habit? Don't do it for 2 or 3 days. That is called a habit suicide. It can happen fairly quickly too. But anyways, we'll continue to explore this topic. For now, this much only today. So let's move on to our shloka. Uh, so I introduced this shloka because we're talking about God's avatars. So we'll continue on this shloka itself. I'm going to recite it and we'll pick up 3 hands and then get it going. अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. Okay, let's take a few hands.
श्याम जी, राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Shyam ji.
राधे राधे. अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. राधे राधे.
Cool. Very nice. Thank you, Shyam bhai. Okay, let's take 2 more hands.
श्री रम्या जी, राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Shri Ramya.
राधे राधे. अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Radhe Radhe. Okay, let's take one more.
अपर्णा जी, राधे राधे. Please go ahead.
राधे राधे. अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Okay, I see Vinamra ji. Yesterday we couldn't give you a chance, so please go ahead.
राधे राधे. रूपा जी, please go ahead.
राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe.
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया.
Thank you. Okay, we can take last one, Riya ji, real quick because of your persistence. Let's take the last hand and then we'll get started.
राधे राधे. रिया जी, please go ahead.
राधे राधे. अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानाम् ईश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वाम् अधिष्ठाय Sambhavamyatmamaya.
Very nice. Thank you,
Radhe
Riya. Radhe Radhe. I see on personal chat saying habit of attending DWFBG classes because we're talking about habit. Yeah, that's also a habit. And interestingly, in India, if you, Bharat, I should say, uh, I whenever I would sit next to, some taxi drivers, they would be sitting like this, a little bit like this, on the wheel. Okay, like this. In India, it's a left-hand drive. So I would say, why are you sitting like this? Is it, when we usually drive with people on, it's crowded and somebody's sitting right next to you. So now I've developed this habit of sitting right, even though nobody's out there. So that is the power of habit. It kind of, makes us some kind of an autopilot that we start working in without we realizing. And we'll see how we can build good habits, how we can train and condition ourselves. So nevertheless, let's get started with the shloka. So in the shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that although I am unborn and the Lord of all living entities and have an imperishable nature, yet I appear in this world by virtue of Yogamaya, my divine power. He chooses to come in this world. And there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that. And then we will look at the different various avatars of God and uh, and um, and then see, what are the pros and cons, or pros and pros, no cons, pros and pros of having a particular form as your Ishtadev, because all are the same. Okay, let's get started. All right, if you had to choose a life, which one would you choose? The one on left or one on right? Anybody with a choice on the left-hand side? Anybody not having a choice on left-hand side? Yes, Shriram ma'am.
Yes, Sri Ramya ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would. I'm seeing left-hand side from a positive perspective that more trains can go at a time. There are more opportunities, more trains can stop. But on the right-hand side, another train cannot come till the first train moves. So the right one is limited, but the left one has more
That's
choices, options,
yeah.
and
That's a lot of lateral thinking, out of box thinking. Yeah. So if you were supposed to go from point A to point B, which one would serve you better, right? So let's not spend a lot of time. So this is life without Bhagavad Gita, and this is life with Bhagavad Gita. Okay. It will give you very clear path on how you should progress. It's a manual for life, right? So I came across this, so found it pretty interesting. I thought I'll bring it to the class as well. Anyways, now let's start. So Gunavatar, let's talk about Gunavatar part of it. Krishna is the Param Purush we spoke about. Now, the Sattva manifestation of God is Brahma. Okay, who is the generator or the creator itself. The Vishnu is the maintainer, is the Rajas. And Tamas is Mahesh. Now, these gunas, don't take it as material gunas. Okay, we'll say, oh, tamas, tamsik, that is not good. They are on the divine side of things. One creates, maintains, and the annihilator. All three are there. And these are the three, three aspects of God's manifestations as well when it comes to maintaining this universe, right? God itself, the definition said generator, operator, and destructor. So this is the Trinity, if we were to map it to the gunas, but don't treat it as bad or good or things like that. Okay, these are the three manifestation of the same God. I just want to call out technically the Brahma, God can take on a form. God does take on a form as Brahma as well, because sometimes you do not find an eligible soul who can be entrusted with this high profile, where the job description is pretty, vast. You have to do so much of stuff. You have to do creation pretty much every day when you wake up. And then it requires a lot of intelligence as well, right? And that can only be earned through the merit of devotion. So God, when he does not find a suitable soul, Jivatma, then he takes on the form of a Brahma as well. But scripturally speaking, the Brahmalok or Satyalok is part of this material creation only. And you and I can become Brahma as well. But when we become Brahma, the next step is God will give you God realization for the outstanding job you'll end up doing. Okay, it's like CEO, and then he will make you you are sure shot to be promoted. From Brahma, you don't fall back into 8.4 million because of the extent, the quality, and the extent of the job you end up doing. Being a Brahma, first of all, you don't get picked up just like that. But if you do, then God, he just gives you his abode. Yes, Sandhya, which abode? Don't ask me that.
No, just a clarification. So Brahmaji uh, is not like a Bhog Yoni like other celestial gods.
Brahmaji is not a Bhogyoni. Brahmaji is,
Purusharth can be done in that.
regardless whether he can do Purusharth or not, he ends up getting God realization for the outstanding job that he does. So it's at the tipping point of Jivatma where he'll end up achieving God realization immediately after his job is done. But people in Satyalok, they are still in, they're also not, they're in Bhogyoni itself because they can also fall down. It is in material realm only. Okay, so we'll continue. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about sampradayas. People get hung up in sampradayas. And that is one of the reasons Maharaj Ji did not pick up a Guru Pratha. Right? People say, okay, tell me which lineage you come from. Do you come from Advait? Do you come from Vishishta Advait? Do you come from Ramanujacharya? Do you come from Madhvacharya? Do you come from Shankaracharya? And then you box them. Okay, this is what we follow, and that is all we are going to follow. This is our Guru, and don't even talk about anything. Okay, so I just wanted to put it in perspective, how to look at it, so that this topic, at least we are clear theoretically. The choices that we end up making is still up to us, what we feel comfortable with, but let's try to look at it in perspective as well before I get deeper into this topic. So you have Brahmaji. Okay, not Brahmaji. So let's say Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya, that is one of the lineage we had. He's one of the original Mool Jagat Gurus. His guru was Vedvyas. Vedvyas' guru was Parashar. Parashar's guru was Shakti itself, and Shakti, then Vashisht, then Brahma, and Brahma's guru is Narayan himself. So you see, you can trace it back all the way up to Narayan. Okay, Narayan is the ultimate guru, regardless of, from this Madhvacharya lineage, if you look at it. Then let's talk about Ramanujacharya lineage. His guru was Yamunacharya. Yamunacharya's guru was Ram Mishra. Ram Mishra's guru was Pundarikaksha. His guru was Nath Muni, Shakto, Parshad, and Vishwaksena. And then you can Lakshmi, and then you can trace it back to Shri, which is Shakti. And then Shri's guru is again Narayan. So this also lineage can be traced back to Narayan only. Then the third one is, let's say Shankaracharya, Govindacharya, Gudapadacharya, and then Shukadev, Paramhans, Vedvyas, Parashar, same, Shakti, Vashisht, and Brahmaji, and then you can trace it back to Narayan. So the guru for all the lineages, finally it boils down to Shakti, Brahma, or Narayan. Narayan is the ultimate. We talk about Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. He is the original, he is the Jagat Guru of all the Jagat Gurus. So that lineage is something which, like I said, every sage comes and delivers a message which is appropriate for that era or for the audience. So it's a function of time, space, audience. And they give a message what is required at that point, right? I said Buddhism came in when sacrificial pratha or the sacrificial or the rituals were being misutilized, and Vedic system was very distorted at that point. Brahmans had becomes like Jews at that time, go to people to God. They said, okay, you can go to God through us and you have to follow this ritual, that ritual. All of that was very prevalent. So then when Buddha came, he said, let's wipe the slate clean. Forget about all that, okay? And let's focus on us. So he removed Vedas, because if he had explained, okay, by the way, Veda, this aspect was misinterpreted and this was not, and it would have confused. He just wiped the slate clean. But when Buddha left, Shankaracharya ji came. He built on that philosophy where Buddha had left and introduced the Advaita aspect of it. Because if he had gone too far, form aspect, it would have confused people. So then it's very strategically aligned, one guru after another. And then Ramanujacharya, he built on that, and then Madhvacharya, they kept on building until Kripaluji Maharaj came and he reconciled all the philosophies. But if you look at the lineage, everything traced back to Narayan. So he's the ultimate Jagat Guru for all. Okay, regardless of which lineage you are following. All right, now let's get to the avatar part of it. Okay, I didn't do a good job on this one, but let me put out all the images now. Now let's say your Ishtadev is Lord Shiva. Okay, your Ishtadev is Lord Shiva. Now, if Lord Shiva were to manifest on his original form, you will freak out. Okay, you will, when you see he's adorned with scorpions, with a snake hanging all the way, and his Rudragans, as you can see, some have 3 eyes, some have 1 eyes. So they can really freak you out. So in his original form, you will not be able to tolerate that. Okay, which is God himself. Okay. And where is the question of putting your arm around him? Or for that matter, clinging on his head and hugging him, kind of a deal. It's like awe, reverence would come. Okay, which is what Lord Shiva's original form is. Now let's move on to Lord Ram. That is also, he's a model code of proprietary, they said, right? Maryada Purushottam avatar was there. He would do everything very perfectly. So can you envision putting your arm around Lord Ram and just playing, some kind of a game with him? It's like, oh, he's Lord Ram. You have to follow certain protocol, certain decorum around it. So there's an air of formality there as well. And when we look at Krishna avatar, you see he's actually, snatching food from his friends, what they have already eaten and putting it in his mouth. He's snatching. So that is how and then you see he would become a ghoda with his friends and say, can you kick me hard? Okay, the harder you kick, the more bliss he would feel. So can you imagine making Lord Shiv or Lord Ram your ghoda? Because now he's an official avatar. So just think about it. It's like the same father. When father is at home, he'll say, Papa, can you please become ghoda with me? And Papa will gladly become a ghoda and play with the kid. But in the office, he's a judge. He's pronouncing judgments. He's sending somebody to 20 years of rigorous imprisonment. And if the kid say, hey, Papa, can you please play with? He'll say, can you please let me do my job here? So it's the same Papa, but now he's in an official mood. He has to discharge his, what he's supposed to do, and playtime can wait. So same thing in Krishna avatar, if you look at it, he's giving you the freedom. Right? You can envision him like a friend. You can sit on his head and take all that liberty, or you can snatch food away from his mouth. That is how they used to play. And all those liberties are given. Even say in this world, let's say you've got a friend, you both studied in college or in school, and then after you meet after 10 years and you come to know he's become a president of a country, right? He's a pretty powerful guy, or let's say a CEO of a company. Now, would you like to meet him with that protocol that, oh my God, he's my friend like this? Would you like that more, or would you like your friend inviting you to your room and say, hey, come on, let's have a snack and watch this movie together, and put his arm, you are able to put your arm around him. That relation is more informal, right? But that liberty you don't get in other avatars, because that is God's official form. He's in his official mood in that case, and certain decorum has to be maintained. However, in Krishna avatar, he's in full form. In which avatar would you see a god? Now, if the model code of propriety dictates that you need to act properly in every situation. Now, which brother would tell his friend that go and you can't run, because you see Balram had put in a condition that he would have gone after whoever had run away with Krishna's sister Subhadra. So he knew Balram will get upset. So in order to marry Arjun, he told his sister to run away with Arjun. Then he cannot do anything. If Arjun had done that act, then Balram would have gone after him. So he's making his sister run away, elope with Arjun. So many things Krishna did, right? Where he turned the paradigm upside down based on what we think is a proper behavior, right? And that's what he did, because in that avatar, he displayed his true nature, that God, every formality can wait as long as you have built that relationship of love with him. Not that you have not built and then you say, Krishna, do that. This people who had that relationship with him, he gave them full freedom, to an extent that he would dance in front of gopis just to get some buttermilk, right? Which God would like to do that? And all that stuff. So we'll talk about why Krishna avatar is special. I've just given you a teaser here, but let's talk about why Krishna avatar is special in this slide. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Just actually wanted to add this thing I heard from Swamiji today, that like we are extra blessed to have taken birth in this Kali Yuga, because literally just 5,000 years ago, Krishna had taken avatar in his full-blown form, which happens occasionally
Purna avatar.
across multiple cycles of the
One day
Chaturthi.
of Brahma, I guess, right? I think one day of Brahma,
Yeah.
one Purna avatar happens, and then the avatar that happened 5,000 years ago was a Purna avatar of Krishna, where Golok Vihari Vrindavan Vihari, he actually comes in and takes an avatar. Otherwise, he can take avatar through a Vishnu. Like you say, Ram is a Vishnu avatar, and then that he can come through Vishnu as well. But then that is a Purna avatar, and that is the one that took place 5,000 years back. Very true. Thank you for calling that out. Okay, so we see Lord so many avatars, and let's talk about why Krishna avatar is special amongst all the avatars. So avatars of God are same. Again, to reiterate, they are all equal and complete in themselves. Okay, nobody is bigger or smaller or lesser. Let's first make it very clear, like I have been reiterating. Having said that, the form of God we get to savor in avatars is special, and Krishna avatar it's special because it has four madhuris or four special rasas. Rasas is the quintessence of bliss. That is the rasa. Like you have like mishri, jaggery, sugar, molasses. All are sweet, but the sweet keeps the taste starts becoming finer and finer. So these are the four madhuris that you don't see in any avatar. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, Radhe, Radhe. There is a question in the chat. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe you can complete your slide in that.
No,
Then we
let's
can
take the
ask.
question and then I can get into the the things which make Krishna avatar special.
There is a question from Neha ji regarding what you said. What is meant by Sri Ram can come through Vishnu and Shri Krishna doesn't come like that?
No, Krishna
What you
also,
were
they say Vishnu avatar, they say that. So what I'm saying is the Purna avatar, that means the Krishna who's doing Premdan, playing his flute in Vrindavan, he actually takes on an avatar. Or he could come via Vishnu, because Vishnu is his own expansion only. So those are some of the technicalities, but Purna avatar means when he himself decides to come as an avatari. Otherwise, he may have Vishnu, can you take on? Because Vishnu is also his expansion only. So, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. They are all Swanch, means they are all his own expansions only. But there might be some difference when the Purna avatar happens. Maybe something special he does, because he's exhibiting all the leelas. Maybe in other avatars he doesn't do that. I don't know about that. But it is said the Purna avatar happened in this Manvantar only, and the 5,000 years back, the one that took place was a Purna avatar as well. Yes, Pratyusha, you wanted to add something before I get into the four special Madhuris?
Radhe Radhe everyone. Radhe sir. So actually my question is like Krishna and Radha Krishna both are like bliss personified, right?
Mhm.
So if someone is looking for blissful state, do they have to worship Krishna, or the bliss that they are looking can be found in any other form?
Any ever avatar, all see where God realization means bliss realization. But the bliss
Okay.
also has categories, right? Bitter, better, better, butter, and then you just keep on adding any extent to that bliss. So that keeps on becoming finer and finer and finer. So the rasa or the quintessence of bliss, it keeps on becoming finer and finer and finer as you get into some of these avatars that we want to talk about. God realization itself means you have attained bliss, because God is bliss. Right. So the definition, very definition of God realization is you have attained bliss, but bliss also has so many categories and so much of depth. Okay. And the devotee, they keep on increasing their love. The God keeps on bestowing bliss. Now, neither the devotee can say, I cannot love you anymore, nor God can say that this is all the treasure chest of bliss I had. Now I cannot give you any more bliss. So that bliss keeps on expanding and expanding and expanding. But in Krishna avatar, the reason it is special is because it's easy for you to take your mind where you have more flexibility and more opportunity to build that personal rapport, right? As humans, now let's talk about these four madhuris and then we'll see why it is easy. I think after this, we might be able to appreciate it even more. I hope I answered your question, Pratyusha, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So the first one is Roop Madhuri. He has an exceedingly enchanting form. Now, God, of course, he has to be the most beautiful person, right? Needless to say. I mean, we get enchanted by people in this material world. So God, we can't even imagine how beautiful or exceedingly charming he could be, right? His bliss is like, there's a bhajan by Maharaj ji, right? Mero pyaro pyaro, murli varo, ya par Kam Karoran Varo. Karoran means crores of millions and billions of Kamdevs would seem insipid. They will fade into insignificance in front of his beauty. I mean, that is a figure of speech, so we can't even imagine. In fact, it is such an enchanting form. Krishna itself means something which is attractive, that you cannot take your eyes away from it. Okay, that much enchanting form it is, and we'll not be able to take that blessing. Even in somebody from Swarg comes, we'll fall down. But Krishna is Krishna. That much exceedingly beautiful Krishna is. Yeah, I think we were talking about the session when he looks at his own reflection. He said, "Oh my God, how can you be so beautiful?" And he faints looking at himself. Anyways, those are leelas. But you can just imagine, if God, what kind of, he's an epicenter of everything. So whatever things we find beautiful, multiply it by I don't know how many infinite and infinite and infinite, that too on the divine side, you can't even imagine how beautiful it is. They say, and God's beauty is such that it keeps on increasing and enhancing and continues to be, which is of course not a concept that we can understand until we are experiencing it, and God blesses us to do that. But I think Swamiji in one of his lectures was telling, there was one painter and he started painting God, and he said, "Oh, he's so beautiful," and then he painted, and then he looks back and say, "No, no, no, it actually looks even more beautiful." And then he again does his work and then looks at it, he says, "No, no, he's..." So you can't capture him. He just keeps on increasing and enhancing his beauty. That is how it goes. And he has an exceedingly enchanting form. And gopis, in a lot of leelas, they say that even when he was a 7 or 8 year or 10-year boy, gopis, they were all women, right? When they would look at him, they could not take their eyes off him. That is how attractive his form was. And in fact, a lot of gopis, they were warned by their mother-in-laws, no matter what you do, just don't lock eyes with this guy. If you lock eyes, that's it, you're done. And in one of the beautiful leelas, you forget about his face. Right? There's a leela where Krishna, there was a gopi who was warned by her mother-in-law that not mother-in-law, but Krishna would do the theft and will never get caught. And this gopi was determined to catch him one day. So she did some trick. She put her pot high up there or something like that, and then she hid and was waiting for Krishna to come. And Krishna finally comes, and when he was trying to steal the butter, she caught him red-handed and said, "Okay, the job is done today, and I'm going to bring Yashoda Maiya, show that this is when I caught him. I have caught him red-handed." He said, "Sure enough." And then she said, "Okay, let me tie him up and bring Yashoda Maiya." So when she started tying him up, forget about the face. He looked at his hand, to start the thread, and she said, "Oh my God, what a beautiful hand he has." Okay, she got enchanted. She cannot get herself to tie his hand. Okay, and Krishna understand. He said, "You know what? Let's do one thing. I'll tell you how to tie it. Okay, can you? Let's reverse the role and play this game, and I'll tell you how to tie me." She said, "All right." He said, "Okay, I'll tie you, and you do the same with me." And she stands there, and then Krishna ties her up there. Okay, and then you know what happens after that. So instead of tying Krishna, she ended up getting tied. So just by hand, she got enchanted. So you can imagine what his eyes or face could do when he decides to really captivate your heart. So that is his Roop Madhuri. The second one we can continue to go and talk about is his Bal Madhuri. Even in his Bal Madhuri, Maharaj has a beautiful jhanki where he talks about the fact when he's sleeping, Tandravastha they call it, just after sleep, you are in that half sleepy state before you fully become active, and you are kind of yawning, and mother is coming and trying to lift him, and then she lifts him, but then he's trying to fall down because he's feeling sleepy, but then she holds him and then puts him on the floor feet, and then supports him, and then he's walking, swaying from side to side. Some 5 or 6 jhankis in that Leela is so captivating that Maharaj has written a beautiful bhajan about it. And in his Bal Madhuri, there's tons of stuff that he has revealed. So many beautiful Leelas that you can savor not only in Kirtan but even otherwise, that he displayed in its full glory, Bal Madhuri. So he actually left Vrindavan at the age of 11 years and 52 days But within that time period, he had achieved so much. Okay, those leelas with gopis and mother and pretty much everyone. So that Bal Madhuri is another Madhuri that he displayed, that gives devotees a lot of ras or mellow to meditate upon. Okay, so many Bal Madhuris are not displayed in any other avatar, right? Narsingh avatar, of course, he manifested as Narsingh only. What Bal Madhuri he would do, right? And then even in Ram avatar, there might be some documentation around that part of it, but then his avatar was for a different purpose. But Krishna avatar, he displayed his Bal Madhuris to full extent. Roop Madhuri, Bal Madhuri. The third one is his Murli Madhuri. So Murli Madhuri is also something when he would play the tune, he would steal the chit of the eligible gopis, not everyone. And to an extent, then when he would play his flute, no matter what gopis are doing, there were gopis who would get into samadhi immediately, into a trance. Okay, some will immediately change clothes, get into appropriate, and walk towards where the flute tune is coming. Some would not even care to do that. In whatever state they are in, they will run away. Right? Depending upon how much attraction they felt for Krishna and the stage, right? Whether they were Samartha Rati, Samanjasya Rati, or Sadharani Rati. So that was how enchanting his Murli Madhuri was. And that is also something which was displayed during his avatar kal in Vrindavan. In fact, it is said when he left Vrindavan, he gave his flute and his black blanket, I think, to Radharani, that now this will no longer be needed. Now the time has come for the other leelas that I have to do. And the sweetness aspect of it, he left behind, which was sad. But then that avatar kal, I think that was the designated time he had carved out for himself to display those madhuris. And then the fourth one is his Prem Madhuri, of course. There cannot be any better lover than Krishna himself, right? So you can only imagine. So all the romance that you can think of, what Krishna is capable of giving you back, we can't even imagine. We can't even conceive, right? He's the greatest lover one can find. And they say that if you are adventurous, then finding God should be your mission. And if you are romantic, then learn to love God, because that will um, truly defined you as an adventurous or a romantic person. So Prem Madhuri, that is also was in full display during Maharas or during his avatar kal. So these are the four Madhuris that you can relish, especially in Krishna avatar, which makes this avatar a little special because he showed his side. He revealed his 16 kalas and gives a lot of basis for devotees to get enchanted or take their mind to him. And of course the sweetness aspect of it. So this is why if we meditate upon Krishna or Radha, it becomes easy to take our mind to them. Not to suggest that you cannot have Krishna or the other Ishtadev, they're all the same as your Ishtadev, but the sweetness that comes with this avatar, it's easy for devotees mind to take it to that. And that's why this avatar is considered a special avatar, because God chose to manifest all of his kalas in this avatar. In some he would still hide something, he would still follow certain codes, right? When he came in a Ram avatar, there were so many sages who were meditating upon God in Madhurya Bhav. But then he had promised Mother Sita that I will only have one wife. Okay, that was his promise to Mother Sita. And he continued to do that. He was in a Maryada Purushottam avatar. Even when he was walking around Ayodhya, I think there were a lot of girls who were looking at him, said, "Oh my God, only if we could have him as our husband." Even Shrupanakha came with that intent of marrying him. So he kept on doing tathastu to everybody. But he could not, because he's in a Maryada Purushottam avatar. But when he came as a Krishna avatar, he said, "All right, game on, 16,108 wives," right? So in Krishna avatar, he was like full form avatar, and he revealed his true nature, how you can build that personal connection with me. Love is something that can enslave me, and everything else can wait. Okay, you can leave aside formality, you can leave aside other things. If you can simply build a relationship with me, and that to love based, I'm all yours. So that is why this avatar is considered special, although all avatar are complete in themselves, and you are free to choose any Ishtadev that you want. Okay, with that, I'll take a quick pause because I think we've spoken a lot about this. Now we can take any questions that anybody may have. Okay.
Tushar ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Katusha ji, can you hear us?
Okay,
Hello?
Yeah,
maybe
now we.
from previous.
Actually, this was from the previous, sorry.
Oh,
No
worries.
worries, no worries.
Yes,
Uh,
Shyamji.
Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe.
या राधे राधे नितिन जी ये जो आपने बताया अवतार्स ऑफ गॉड इफ आई हैव टू मेडिटेट सो आई कैन डू एनी फॉर्म रूप माधुरी बाल माधुरी मुरली माधुरी एंड
Yeah,
do I रूप ध्यान मतलब I can imagine my Shiv any form whatever form suits me feels me good at that point of time and I can do
God has
daily
given
different
you
forms of
variety, right? He's given you varieties, and Maharaj ji has written Kirtans, Virah Madhuri, then, Kirtan. So he's given a lot of variety basically, even in his Kirtans, based on where your mind goes easily or whatever mood you are in, you can pick that thing. It will give you the same benefit. So even if you
Okay, daily it doesn't have to be same रूप daily it has doesn't need to be I mean, अगर आज की है वो मुरली भाव में तो I have to be daily saying him in playing मुरली I can do whatever comes to me naturally at that point of time instinct is that so
free, yeah, you're free to choose any form. You can't limit. So you are free to choose any form of God. If you want to, Maharaj even used to say, if you want to play cricket with him, put a bat in his hand. Feel free to do that.
yeah that I know
It's
because
about taking your mind to God. That's about it.
yeah
And you can
initially I
happen it
told
in
you
any.
also that I was praying to Shiva and Ma Durga but since I joined this program I've shifted my dev to Radharani and Krishna Bhagwan because it's so easy
Yeah,
to be with them. You can do as you told right now कि जो चाहे कर लो हाथ गले में हाथ बाहों में हाथ पैर में हाथ मतलब जैसा आपका मन है स्वभाव है मूड है be with him and I'm sure we also we won't mind he will feel
true,
good in fact that's the
true.
way I feel nowadays so that's the way I go ठीक है thank you so much Radhe
Yeah,
Radhe
that's
got it
true. And even in the world, right, it's very, like even in the world, we see this. When we were kids, we would like to approach our mother or father when they are in a good mood, right? Playful mood. That mood is favorite for everyone. They would
yes
rather not go to them when they are in a, very off in the middle of their office work, or they are in a different mood. So it works in the same way in the world as well. So why not approach a form in which it's the most sweet form, where all they do is prem dan, sweetness, and right, so that it just becomes easy for you to take your mind there. Although they are all same, but and
yeah
sometimes
yeah
the
life is
Ashwini
so
Chintan
easier
only.
now after shifting my focus to Radha Krishna because there is no ifs and buts. There is no doubts, no डर, no concerns कि क्या होगा अगर ये नहीं किया छूट जाएगा तो क्या करेंगे.
True.
No, it's much more free mind, free will कि ठीक है. He's like one of us, so
True.
he won't mind him. That's the way I feel now. I
And
guess
that's
it's okay.
and then when you look at Shiv, they'll say, okay, my father is in his official mood right now. So still you don't discriminate. It's the same again, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
And
Yeah.
your natural affection is to build that personal rapport without any air of formality. That just becomes easier. Your devotional journey becomes easier because your mind can naturally go to that sweet form. That is the benefit of taking your mind there. Although, if you look at some of the saints, like Tulsi Das ji, he said, right, Tulsi Matha tav tare dhanush ban lo haath. So when he used to worship Lord Ram,
जी.
Hanuman ji, his favorite is, right? So that is their preference. Of course, they want to see him. Although, if you ask them, they will also understand the Nanda Kumar and his Ayodhya, Pati, both are same. They do understand, but they choose
Yeah.
that form because their natural affinities towards that form, which is perfectly fine too, right? It's not like one is different from another. I told you that Leela, right, where Hanumanji was breaking pride. They said Dwarkadhish is going. He said, I don't know any Dwarkadhish. Okay, Ayodhyadhish, okay, then I'll come. So those kind of things they do, but then they understand it's both are same. For us devotees, it just becomes easier because we are conditioned to seeking love, affection, warmth, and all that stuff in this world. So Krishna Avatar said, all right, I'll give you all of that. It's so easy. Yeah. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question too?
Radhe Radhe. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Shamli.
No question. Actually, there is this comment from Dhruvil, which he has sent to everyone, so everyone can read it. But it's basically a shloka highlighting the Bal Madhuri aspect of Shri Krishna. So I just wanted to bring that. I mean, I'm not going to read that, but if you want, you can, or everybody can read it.
Yes. Yeah. Is in which one that I think Ashtakam, I forgot that, and he's putting his toe in his mouth. That Leela is where they say everybody is deriving bliss looking at God's feet or touching God's feet. He said, let me also taste my own bliss by putting my toe in my mouth, right? So Bal Mukund, that Leela is there where he's putting his toe in his mouth. In fact, that Leela is shown when Markandeya Rishi, I think he was saying, what is Maya? I think Narad Muni, and that Leela is there where everything goes in a deluge and everything finishes over until on a banyan leaf. There's a one Bal Mukund who is floating and he has his toe in his mouth. So that is also a very beautiful jhanki, actually. So there's too many things around that as well. So thank you for sharing that.
And this also reminds me of, like, I've heard this from Maharaji, I guess, that like in human beings, there is nothing as such special in terms of beauty. But when it comes to talk about examples of natural beauty, it's mostly different animals or different, like lotus or eyes like mrignan and all that, right?
True.
So, and those are the kind of comparisons which is best in terms of our material understanding, which are then put forth for explaining the beauty of God. So that was also mentioned in this shloka, like, lotus-like hands and
Yep. Yeah, those are some loose analogies given to explain the beauty of God. I mean, we can't understand something which is divine, but yeah. Okay, any other questions? Or you can fill out the feedback tracker based on, any other questions that you may have. Tomorrow we will put it all together, the Brahman, Bhagwan, and we'll do a compare and contrast around that. So we'll put it all three together, and from a devotee's perspective, which one would make sense and why is something we would talk about in tomorrow's session. Great. Any other thing anybody wanted to say or talk about?
announcement.
Sure, let's do the announcements, the book launch and other things. Let's take some opportunity to do that while people can think about any question that they may want to ask.
So yes, the Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism, the brand new book by Swamiji, is going to be launched soon. People in India can already start pre-ordering it. 30% discount is available right now. And from 25th of May, a 30-day video challenge series will also start on the same topic on the Radha Krishna Bhakti app. So I hope you all already have the app. If not, download it. It's free of cost and you will be able to participate in those engaging video-based challenges. There'll be fun quizzes and a lot more that I'm not revealing right now. But yeah, make use of that and look forward to the launch of the book. So much exciting stuff coming ahead. What else is, feedback tracker and
Yeah.
Yoga Fest is coming up. So, but there's time, but yeah, it's from 21st of June to 23rd of June, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dallas Yoga Festival is coming up, so please do check it out. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting events as well as a lot of good speakers who will be coming over. We do invite a lot of renowned speakers to this event, so do check it out. And then, of course, the family camp, needless to say, if you haven't registered, please do. I think there's some discount going on for that as well right now. And
also retreat right now, like within few days, the first US retreat of this season is going to be happening in Fresno. So people who can attend it in person, no doubt you should try your best, and who cannot, at least online attendance is possible. So don't miss out on this. Yeah.
sure.
Oh, that's what Rahul you wanted to add? Okay. Annapurna ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, online registration, is it ready?
I think if it's not open yet, but it will open soon.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
So
yeah.
please keep an eye on the link. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I want to make sure because it's coming closer, so I don't want to miss it for
Yeah,
anything.
usually in the last 2-3 days that opens up.
I know, last 2-3 days, we just have to wait.
Yes, yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes. You're welcome.
Okay, so I think we're running on time. You can fill out the feedback tracker. If nothing, then we can do our devotional
Devotional
segment.
segment.
We
Yes.
can probably pick up 3 to 4 hands and wrap it up sooner. But thank you. Let's move on to our last segment then.
Should I get started? Okay. कोटिन ज्ञानिन माध्य को प्रेम सुधा रस पाय राधे राधे जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे. Only one amongst millions of Gyanis is fortunate enough to attain the nectarine bliss of pure divine love. For example, Shukdev and four Kumaras were some of the fortunate few whose minds got immersed in the divine love bliss of God.
Yeah. So this is an interesting verse because on the Gyan Marg, it's not that you can take it for granted that God will bless us with his divine bliss after you have attained moksha. But very few Gyanis, they get picked up, and those are the couple of references Maharaji have picked up on this in his verse. Shukadev and those four Kumars who were Brahma Gyanis, but then they were bestowed divine bliss. I think there's a beautiful Leela where the four Kumars goes and then they go to Vishnu's abode. Just the tulsi on his feet, that when it enters their nostril, that itself was so intoxicating for them that they said, what, how would the personal or the divine bliss of God would be if the tulsi leaf touching his feet itself is so intoxicating. And Shukadev, only the verse that was spoken in his ear when he was in his trance broke his samadhi. That is the power of God's name or his personal form. We'll talk about that Leela maybe in one of our sessions, but yeah, it's a beautiful verse. Let's take a couple of more hands and then we'll wrap it up.
I think even Uddho can be added to the same category, right?
Love was also, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. अन्नपूर्णा अच्छा इनका तो आई गेस पहले से अपर्णा जी राधे राधे प्लीज गो अहेड.
राधे राधे. कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
Thank you, Aparna ji. Okay, we can take probably one more hand, two more hands maybe. I think we have time, so we can take three. Let's freeze.
Yes. Okay, I see 4 more hands. So Dinesh ji राधे राधे.
राधे राधे. कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधा रस पाय राधे राधे जिमि सनकादि सुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे जय राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे राधे राधे.
Very nice, thank you. Okay, let's move quickly. We can pick up the remaining two hands too.
रिया जी राधे राधे.
राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Riya ji.
कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, thank you, Riya ji. Very nice. Last but not the least, Shri Ramya, please go ahead.
Yes, राधे राधे please go ahead.
राधे राधे. कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे जिमि सनकादि सुकादि मन ब्रज रस राहे डुबाय राधे राधे. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. It's probably the record time without any constraint today, time constraint. We have finished 160 seconds before, which is good.
We had started 5 minutes late though.
We had started 5 minutes late as well. Probably a rush through pretty quickly today. But yeah, Samiran, you wanted to make it okay. Go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
No, Radhe Radhe. Sir, I wanted to ask a question. I think it's very practical for us in the material life. When there, like, suppose there are couples or there are married couples, husband and wife, and they are indulging. I don't know, like, I don't want to offend with the question, but please give the answer that when they are indulging in a process of like mating, in that kind of a situation, how do we bring Krishna? Because we don't want to leave at any point. We don't want to go without a thought of him, right? So in that process, how do we not get indulged in the self satisfaction or pleasure?
So we'll tackle this question when we get to that shloka. Okay, we'll not jump the gun because it's not a 2-minute conversation. So wait on. Bhagavad Gita talks about that as well. So we'll talk about that when we get to that shloka. Just hold on for that. That will not take us before 10:05, okay, if we start talking about it. So just hold off. We'll get to this question. That shloka is not too far off anyways. Yes, Dhruval.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Dhruv.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I
Radhe
just wanted to share one thing, not Samiran's question, but we were talking about different sampradayas, and I was actually at a lecture from Swamiji recently, and he mentioned something that I thought was quite
Sure.
beautiful. So he was mentioning that Shiva is the guru to understand Krishna, and Krishna is the guru to understand Shiva. So I thought that was like a good way to put it, because a lot of, I think I still see it online. Like, it's not something that was left behind 500 years ago, but a lot of people argue online who is bigger, who is better, etc., etc. So yeah, I thought that was useful to share.
Yes, they are extremely pleased when, they, both consider Ishtadev in their material world. That Shiv Bhagavan says, right, when he's telling Ramayana, narrating Ramayana to Parvati, that any time somebody says Ra, I get so romanchit, so excited, that he's going to say Ma at the next point, right? And then Krishna said, you're my Ishtadev, to Lord Shiv, how can I press your feet? And he said, how can, and then Shiv said, desires that I want to be close to you always. So then the flute becomes, he's pressing the feet throughout, and he's also close to his hips. So they do divine leelas. They are all swanch. So that's how we need to look at it. We should never have a discriminating buddhi, because it's swanch. It's God's own planetary expansion, and he does those wonderful leelas. Great, good discussion today. We are still wrapping up 3 minutes early today, 2 minutes over or 3 minutes early, however you want to see that. But thank you everybody for your wonderful participation. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll try to put it all together, what we have been discussing, before we move on to our next shloka. So thank you. Good night, good day, stay blessed, and have a wonderful day and a great rest of your evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.